Ethan and I were each other's first love. From 18 to 28, for a full 10 years. He was always clean and pure, never had any hidden agendas. Everyone said we were bound to get married, happily ever after. I believed that too. Until my 28th birthday. I was driving back to celebrate his birthday when I got into a car accident. I was unconscious, but my mind floated in and out, like I was submerged in murky water. Then I heard Ethan and his brother's voices, sharp like knives. I used to think she was beautiful and sweet, innocent to the point of perfection. I loved her to death. What about now? She's getting older, not as obedient as before, comes from a poor rural family, wants a car, a house, and a dowry. Marriage? Tisk, what a loss. It turns out, he only loved my tender 18-year-old self. The 28-year-old me was just a bad deal in his eyes. Every word felt like a barbed hook, tearing at my heart. I spent my entire youth, only to be told, old and unattractive. It was truly heartbreaking. His brother chimed in, his voice low and mocking. Exactly. You work day and night for a car and a house. Your job is decent, and you're almost 30, in the prime of your life. With these conditions, you could easily find a 20-something girl fresh out of school. No sweat, and the money would be well spent. Clearly, these words struck a chord with Ethan. He didn't respond, he didn't argue. His silence was agreement. His brother teased again. 10 years of love. Are you really not getting married? Ethan remained silent for a while before speaking with a strained voice. Fine, if I look for someone else, it's too much trouble. She's been with me for 10 years. At 28, if I just let go now, it would make me seem like a jerk. Yeah, still, it doesn't feel right. Huh. He was so reluctant to marry me. The bad deal. And yet I was the one who was making him feel guilty. Disappointment, like icy water, instantly flooded my entire being. His brother sneered. Enough, don't stand here sulking. The boys are waiting for you to celebrate your birthday. She's not waking up anytime soon. Let's go. Ethan. Let's go. Just a reminder, marriage isn't a joke. Think carefully. Their footsteps faded. They were rushing to celebrate his birthday while I was driving all night just to celebrate his birthday, speeding and causing the accident. Now he had left me. This unconscious burden in the hospital, not even knowing who he was meeting or where he was celebrating. All I heard him say was, marrying her is a loss. It was him who relentlessly pursued me back in high school. It was him who gave up opportunities to go to Qingbai and join me at Nancheng University. It was him who did so many crazy things to give me a sense of security. The hospital room was silent. I slowly opened my eyes. My body felt like it was falling apart, especially my head, which was throbbing and buzzing. But those words were crystal clear. My family was indeed poor. My parents were honest farmers. Ethan's family, on the other hand, were university professors, a family of scholars. He himself was successful, running a game company that was doing quite well. He always said he didn't want to rely on his family, that he would earn money on his own to marry me. My family couldn't offer me much support, and before I could firmly stand on my own 2 feet, I didn't want to rush into marriage. So we both silently agreed to focus on making money, postponing it time and time again, until we were 28. A woman's youth is a limited resource. Once my career was stable, I had savings and I was ready to settle down. But he, with his own hands, extinguished every hope I had for marriage and for the future. For a moment, I almost believed that I had found love in this world, full of regrets. My phone suddenly rang, its shrill sound startling me. I fumbled to answer it, and on the screen was Ethan. I stared at the name as it blinked on the screen, but I didn't answer. It was as if he knew I had woken up. He called again and again. Finally, I picked up. The nurse said you woke up. Why did it take so long for you to pick up? His voice was filled with his usual concern. I suppressed the emotions welling up inside me and spoke weakly. My head hurts. I was dizzy again. His tone softened, filled with tenderness. Next time, don't drive so fast, okay? Are you hungry? I'll come over later. What do you want to eat? It sounded just like the last 10 years. I felt a momentary daze, wondering if the cruel words I had just heard were just a nightmare. Ethan? I whispered. Do you still love me? Without hesitation, he answered in a soothing tone as though comforting a child. Lucy, who else would I love if not you? 10 years, and you still can't see how I feel? 10 years. How many people get to experience a decade of love? Who can keep that passion alive for 10 years without growing weary? And it's normal, right? Besides, I'm already 20 date. Every time I went home, my mom's face would be full of worry. The villagers would laugh at her, she couldn't sleep at night, and she was about to lose her mind because of me, her daughter. Breaking up? I don't think I have the courage for that. The next day, the doctor said I needed more observation and couldn't leave the hospital. It was the first time I had been so idle since I started working. Maybe it was Ethan's words like a thorn deeply embedded in my heart, making me uneasy. On impulse, I went to his company. It was the game company he had started. It wasn't big, but it was running well. When I arrived, he was in a meeting. I didn't disturb him and went straight to his office to wait. After a long time, I started to feel sleepy and dozed off on the sofa. Not long after, a burst of laughter woke me up. I was about to get up when I heard a girl's playful voice. The back of the sofa blocked my view, so they didn't see me. Ethan, it's really not me being picky, but the game is way too hard. There's no sense of immersion. Ethan laughed, his voice filled with familiar teasing. If you can't even play the game, what else can you do? The girl's voice became even sweeter. I'm just slow. You have to teach me. Or I'll tell your mom I'm interning here and you're not taking care of me at all. Ethan seemed to shake his head. No, I have a girlfriend. She get jealous. Let someone else take care of you. I couldn't see his eyes, but his entire demeanor was glowing with that familiar, almost pampering relaxation. It was the same way he used to look at me when we were 18. The assistant came in with 2 cups of milk tea, one for the girl and one for Ethan. Ethan took a sip and put it down. The girl, however, casually took the cup he had drunk from, using his straw to take a sip. It's really good. Don't waste it. Ethan waved his hand. If you want it, take it. Afraid your girlfriend will get jealous. Then put it down. TCH, stop pretending in front of me. If you really wanted to marry her, you would have done it already. The girl said confidently. Ethan laughed lightly. Little girl, what do you know? Ethan, you better think it through. A marriage without feelings is hard to bear. The girl's voice lowered as if trying to seduce him. Life isn't long, but it's not short either. Spending it with someone you don't love, even a kiss will feel annoying. What's the point of that? A kiss feels annoying. Ethan really hadn't kissed me in a long time. Before, he could kiss me anywhere, even until I was gasping for air. I remember once, when I had a business trip and stayed at a small hotel. I was scared and called him in the middle of the night. He spoke to me while driving to me. When he rushed in, he hugged me tightly and kissed me urgently, whispering those words that made me blush. When I snuggled into his arms, he laughed happily and asked, "Are you still scared?" He was on a business trip too, but the next day, he hurriedly drove back just to spend a few hours with me. He was so crazy about me, so obsessed. He even restrained himself, saying he would wait until our wedding night to taste the sweetness of marrying the woman he loved. Those passionate moments once made me fall so deeply, I couldn't get out. Even though the love was no longer the same, I couldn't stop tears from welling up as I thought about those moments. But the broken reality before me made my heart ache. The emotions hit me hard, and I couldn't pretend anymore. I sat up straight from the sofa. The girl shrieked in surprise and hid behind Ethan, grabbing his arm. Ethan immediately furrowed his brows and pulled his arm away, walking toward me. "Why are you here?" The girl looked at me nervously, her eyes innocent. She was so young, her skin so tender it seemed you could squeeze water from it, her eyes clear like they had never seen dust. I looked at the cup of milk tea in her hand. How close must they be for her to have such a lack of boundaries? Close enough that I, his 10-year girlfriend, didn't even know who she was. Ethan followed my gaze and introduced, "This is Mia, my neighbor's younger sister." Sister. I forced out a polite but cold smile. "I have something at the hospital, I'll be going now." I couldn't keep up the act anymore. But I didn't have the strength to break down and scream. This feeling suffocated me. I turned and left. Ethan followed me out. "Let me take you." I didn't stop walking. No need. At the elevator, he stood there silently, not even offering an explanation. Was it unnecessary? Or did he just not care? I opened my phone. "The car's here, you can go back now." He immediately sighed with relief. Not like the old days when he would cling to me, Not like when he would get nervous when I saw him talking to other girls. At this moment, he felt so unfamiliar. It sent a chill straight to my heart. The elevator doors opened and closed again. I forgot to step in. That sharp remark I couldn't hold back. Don't you think it's pretty green tea for another woman to talk about your girlfriend so shamelessly in front of you? Ethan's face darkened. She's just a kid, talking without thinking. Why do you have to be so harsh? The impatience in his eyes felt like a knife, cutting through me. Lucy, you always judge others with your standards, but all you expose is your own narrow-mindedness. My chest tightened. Wasn't I always like that? Every time there was a slight hint of anything happening around him, I'd make a scene. Back then, he'd laugh and pull me into his arms, kiss me until I couldn't breathe, saying he loved to see me jealous. But now it was proof of my narrow-mindedness. Maybe at 28, I was just a mistake in his eyes even when I breathed. He turned around and walked away, his back resolute. I stood frozen in place until the cold elevator doors closed again. When I tried to take the stairs, Mia's intentionally lowered, sweet voice floated over. Ethan, did I cause trouble? I'm sorry. No problem. Go comfort your sister, okay? Don't let her get mad at you because of me. She seems to have quite a temper. Do you think she'd break up with you? If she does because of me, I'll be the villain. Ethan's voice was mixed with a chilling contempt. Don't worry. She won't leave. She's 28, who else would want her after me? It felt like being stripped in front of everyone, and the shame instantly overwhelmed me. Mia giggled. Wow, you're such a jerk. Where am I a jerk? Am I too rough with you? If you dare, I'll pull all your beard off. Come on, try it. A few days later, I was discharged. The sky was as dull as a dirty rag, with pouring rain. My car was still at the repair shop. My fingers hovered over the phone screen for a while, but I couldn't dial the all-too familiar number. Forget it. I called a cab. The traffic was jammed, the wipers futilely swiped back and forth, and the outside world was a blurry mess. Tears came out of nowhere. In my chat, Ethan's name lay quietly there. I typed, erased, typed again, and finally cleared it all. 10 years of memories flickered by like a revolving lantern. I couldn't deny the passion of his love once, burning through my youth like wildfire. But now all that was left was ash. I was afraid it would end too embarrassingly. My company arranged a business trip to a mountain city and I signed up. The mountain city had already seen snow and the cold was biting. Between work, I walked around a tourist spot and saw local smoked meat, and for some reason, I thought about buying it. For him. As my fingers touched the packaging, my phone vibrated. A friend request popped up at the bottom of WeChat. Sister, it's Mia. I need to talk to you. I accepted. A message immediately appeared. Sis, please don't be mad. Ethan and I really have nothing. Are you still mad? Ethan and I grew up together. If you liked me, you wouldn't have had a chance. Don't worry. Ethan's under a lot of stress lately. He drank himself stupid last night, and he gets upset talking about marriage. Don't make things hard for him, okay? The screen's light reflected off the snow in the mountain city, glaring coldly. Is marrying me so painful for him that he needs to drown it in alcohol? Hey! I didn't reply. I stuffed my phone back into my pocket and walked aimlessly through the unfamiliar streets. Snowflakes hit my face, stinging. Ethan and I had fallen into a strange cold war, silently waiting for the last straw to fall. I thought it was over. 7 days later, my phone rang. It was him. In this silent battle, he spoke first, his tone as dismissive as a child being pacified. Lucy, have you calmed down? It's been so many days. When did the burden of solving our issues fall only on me? I didn't speak. He sighed, his voice softening. We're getting married, so stop this, okay? I've thought about it. Let's meet our families over the new year and finalize the wedding. I stood halfway up a mountain, gazing at the blinding white all around me, speaking calmly. Ethan, there's heavy snow, and I'm stuck on the mountain. Where are you? Mountain City. There was a brief silence on the other end. If it had been the Ethan from 10 years ago, he would have already booked a flight. Even if the snow blocked the roads, he would have waited at the foot of the mountain telling me not to be afraid. Now all he said was, I checked the weather. It will warm up in a couple of days and the snow will melt. Don't be scared, baby. How cheesy. I pulled a corner of my mouth. We were almost 30 who would still travel 1,000 miles for someone. Life had smoothed out those extremes. Yeah, I'm not scared. I'm an adult. I can handle it. My voice was a little hoarse. He obviously breathed a sigh of relief. My baby is so great. We chatted indifferently for a bit. Probably because of my period and catching a cold, my head felt heavy and my body cold. I'm on my period, I have a fever, I feel awful, I'll sleep now. I typed that out and threw my phone away, sinking into a deep sleep. At 3 a.m., I woke up to the sharp pain in my abdomen and the burning heat on my forehead. I checked my phone to see the time. The screen was completely clean, not a single new message. I opened WeChat Moments by reflex. Mia had posted a melodramatic post over an hour ago. Below it, Ethan's comment was glaring. Go to sleep. Why are you being so dramatic in the middle of the night? Aren't you sick? You need to go to the IV tomorrow. The time matched the moment after I had typed feeling sick, going to sleep. It felt like a slap in the face, burning. The joke was on me. Tears suddenly welled up and burned as they slid down my cold cheeks. When you're sick, emotions are as fragile as paper. In that instant, I suddenly realized that nothing mattered anymore. Marriage isn't a life raft, and age isn't a guillotine. I silently blocked all of Ethan's contact information. Clean and decisive. 3 days later, I returned to the city. I thought I could slowly pick up the broken pieces of my heart. But then, my mom's call bombed into my life. I thought it was another rant about marriage, but instead, I heard her desperate crying. Your dad was beaten and hospitalized. My brain went numb. I rushed to the hospital and my mom slapped me hard across the face the moment I entered, the sound ringing in my ears, half of my face immediately going numb. Which girl is 30 and still isn't married? Just because of you. Your dad got into a fight with someone saying that no one wants our Lynn family's daughter. Now look! 5 broken ribs. Are you satisfied? You're living a carefree life while we're being humiliated at home. You're so capable. Fine, whether you get married or not is your business. Your dad's life and death have nothing to do with you. Get out. I wish I'd never given birth to you. She broke down into sobs, collapsing in the chair. My face burned, and my heart felt like it had been pierced by an ice pick, shaking from the cold. I didn't even realize I was crying. I wiped my tears away, took a deep breath, and pushed open the door to the hospital room. My dad had wasted away, lying on the stark white bed with his back to me. The man who used to carry me on his shoulders and sing mountain songs had quietly aged. And here I was, still holding on to a rotting relationship, unable to let go. At 28, still dreaming of a fairy tale from 18? How laughable. I silently left the hospital room, drifting like a ghost through the streets. From dawn to dusk. With the new year approaching, the streets were filled with red lanterns, glaring at my eyes, the LED screens on the buildings flashing with festive ads. The traffic was loud, the crowds were buzzing. The world was busy and full of life, but I felt like an outsider. Confused, exhausted. Finally, I opened my phone and dragged that all too familiar name out of the blacklist. Fine. If he wants to marry, then let's get married. As long as he's willing, I'll go along. I was about to go find Ethan, thinking that I might have made mistakes too and that I should apologize to him. But before I could take a step, I froze in place. At the end of the pedestrian street, I saw Ethan and Mia. Amidst the crowd, they were hugging each other, and I stood at the corner, my hands and feet numb, watching them in this moment of mutual affection. Did he whisper sweet promises of eternity in her ear, just like he once did when he held me? I took out my phone and dialed his number. I stared at Ethan's face, watching his expressions and movements. But the distance was too far, I couldn't see his expression. All I saw was him taking out his phone, seeing it was my call, and impatiently hanging up. Mia leaned in to look at his phone screen and made a face. He put the phone away, and just like when he saw me jealous, he happily pulled Mia into his arms again. I stood there quietly, with no tears left to shed. I just watched. I watched as they entered the hotel, never to come out again. I don't know if he would do the same things with her as he did with me, doing all the wrong things, but ultimately holding her close, whispering in her ear, I want to know what it feels like to marry the woman I love the most. On our wedding night, snowflakes drifted from the night sky. I looked up, letting the cold snowflakes fall on my face. Just like how the chill of this emotion gradually took away all the warmth in my heart. I booked a room across from their hotel, from which I could see the entrance clearly. I stood by the window like a ghost, staring at the hotel's entrance. I watched them leave the next day at noon. I felt nauseous, physically ill, almost unable to bear it. I bent over, gagging, and eventually collapsed onto the ground. I blocked him. For him, it was a relief. He could comfortably accept a new relationship, one that made his heart flutter. So, why should I keep clinging on? Forget it. It's over. But when I got back to my neighborhood, I saw Ethan leaning against a car. He was looking down, casually texting, and from where I stood, I could see his profile. The smile on the corner of his mouth couldn't be hidden. That smile so familiar. Whenever we weren't together, he would always look at me like that. It wasn't that he had become indifferent to me. It was just that his passion was given to someone else. I stood there quietly, not moving. He was so absorbed that he didn't even notice me watching him for a long time. Finally, I asked, "What are you doing here?" He snapped back to reality and turned to look at me, his smile still lingering. His expression slowly turned cold as he slowly put his phone away. "I just got back from a business trip. Why didn't you tell me? I would have picked you up." I didn't respond, and he didn't approach me either. We stood a distance apart, looking at each other, familiar yet unfamiliar. It seemed like he didn't even know I had blocked him. All the confusion, the back and forth, the breakdowns all seemed so ridiculous now. I laughed bitterly. Should I have told you? Wouldn't that have interrupted your little date and hotel stay with Mia? I wasn't dignified enough anymore. I had come to face him head on. Ethan frowned. What? Aren't you just coming from Mia's room? Ethan tried to explain. She was drunk, playing a game of truth or dare. I just took her to the hotel to rest, and I booked a new room to sleep in. You can check the hotel records or the surveillance if you want. I only see her as a sister, there's nothing more to it. Maybe he really hadn't crossed the line physically, but his soul had already escaped its boundaries. I smiled faintly. Ethan, what are you really trying to do here? Is it even worth it? In the past, whenever he avoided other women for me, he'd say that only boiling water could brew green tea. So, he never had to explain his relationship with other women, because it was always clear. But now, his excessive explanations only made things more suspicious. Ethan, green tea can only be brewed with hot water. And clearly, this water of yours has already boiled. Ethan looked at me for a few seconds, then suddenly smiled. If you're talking about boiling water, then it's because I've boiled over for you again. She reminds me of you when you were younger, so pure, so clean. He said seriously, Lucy, I love you. I only love you and I only want to marry you. I found it so laughable, tears even started to fall from my eyes. I wanted to say, okay, let's get married, but in the end I couldn't bring myself to say it. But when I thought of my parents, my heart was torn. At my age, even when I went on blind dates, all I met were people who already had someone else in their hearts. 10 years of love couldn't just vanish, and I couldn't love anyone else. It seemed like there was only one path before me, to marry Ethan. I tried to convince myself. It doesn't matter, I don't care. But when he came over to hug me, I reflexively pushed him away. Ethan, it's over between us. When I said those words, I felt both a sense of relief and a heart-wrenching pain. Ethan stared at me silently, his face dark and cold. Are you serious? Yes. He was quiet for a long time before speaking again. You weren't like this before, Lucy. What was I like before? Like Mia? A green tea? Seeing my reflection in her makes me sick. Ethan seemed a little angry, his brows furrowed. Looking down at me, Mia said you were affected by your family background, that you have a big temper, and are aggressive. Seems like she was right. I didn't respond, just turned and left. Once he allowed Mia to attack me with my own family, I knew he no longer cared. There was no need to say anything more. Ethan grabbed my arm, trying to calm me down. Lucy, we're getting married soon. Don't cause trouble, okay? Cause trouble. I mocked. I shook off his hand and didn't say another word. After that, I never saw Ethan again. I was busy handling my father's situation. The man who hit my father was a bully from the village, always looking for trouble. I didn't accept the mediation. I let the police handle it. The bully, seeing things were escalating and he might be facing jail time, hurriedly showed up at the hospital, pretending to apologize to my father and offering to pay for the medical bills. My father, lying on the hospital bed, waved his hand, saying it was fine. I stood aside, watching the bully's cunning and deceit. It made me feel a little sad. Even though my father had been beaten and broken 5 ribs, he never thought about taking the bully's money. But the bully just half-heartedly offered to pay the medical expenses. I returned the items and coldly said, "Let's follow the proper procedures. You really didn't need to come." The bully's face darkened when he saw my attitude. "How rude! Your dad already agreed and you're still being difficult." If looks could kill, the bully would have been dead 1,000 times over. "If you had manners, you'd kneel down and apologize." The bully scoffed, glaring at me, and walked off, his temper flaring. The hospital room fell silent. My father coughed, his chest tightening from the pain. His face wrinkled in agony. I turned my face away, blinking, and tears fell from my eyes. My mom said he was in so much pain he couldn't bear it, but still, she made a table full of food, planning to educate me when I came home. My love life was in shambles, and my family was suffering because of me. I couldn't stand the pain. I found an empty corner and cried my heart out. When I finished, I wiped my tears away and pretended nothing had happened. Because of the procedures, things took time. The bully, realizing he couldn't avoid it, dropped the act, and his true nature surfaced. When my dad was discharged, the bully stood on the roadside, mocking, "You think you can cheat me out of money? You're crazy. It was you I beat. Why didn't you die in the hospital?" My mom looked at the bully but didn't say anything. The bully suddenly shoved her. "Stop staring at me. You think you can cheat me out of money? I won't give it to you. I'll just go to jail. When I get out, I'll kill your whole family." My mom fell to the ground and my dad's face turned pale with anger. The bully didn't relent, continuing to attack my dad's character. "You've got a daughter who can't even get married. You're disgraceful." People started gathering around, whispering and gossiping. I couldn't take it anymore. I pointed at the bully. "Who the hell do you think you are, acting all high and mighty?" The bully, furious, charged towards me. "Say that again. Who are you calling garbage?" I slapped his hand away, took out my phone, and started recording. "I'm talking about you, you piece of shit." The bully knocked my phone out of my hands and lunged at me. My mom quickly stepped in front of me. "Tyler, what are you doing? This is a society governed by law." People murmured, but no one stepped forward to stop it. This was the vicious nature of rural people, who love seeing others in turmoil. Some even sided with the bully. "Regardless, you're just a kid, you can't talk like that. He didn't say anything and she's cursing him. She's so uneducated, no wonder she can't get married." The comments from the crowd only encouraged the bully. He kicked me in the stomach, and I collapsed to the ground, the pain seeping through my body. I could barely move. The bully continued to curse, saying the dirtiest things I had ever heard. The people around him sneered. The world around me spun. I suddenly didn't know the point of living anymore. What was the point of marriage and having children? I couldn't protect my love, couldn't protect my family. It felt like I had committed a grave sin. In that moment of lost sanity, I didn't even realize how the kitchen knife ended up in my hands. All I felt was the blood rushing through me, awakening the hatred for humanity deep in my bones. These dirty people should disappear from the world. I gripped the knife, scanning the crowd, then pointed at one of the village women, asking in a twisted voice, "Tell me, where did I go wrong?" The woman, who would normally curse the entire village if she wasn't happy, seemed to have seen my murderous intent and quickly stammered, "You're not wrong." And then she hurriedly ran back home. I slowly walked towards the bully Tyler. "Say it again, I dare you." My mom, terrified, grabbed me. "You're crazy, put down the knife." My eyes burned with rage, and in that moment, I truly didn't want to live anymore. I thought I could at least do something for my parents with my life. My life was given by them, and I felt like it wouldn't matter if I sacrificed it for them. I desperately tried to break free from my mom's grip, glaring at Tyler. "You piece of shit. I'm calling you that, so what? You like bullying people, huh?" In my insanity, I even thought about killing everyone who was watching, cheering on this mess. Tyler's family, seeing how things were escalating, rushed over to pull him away. Tyler pushed his family aside and stormed towards me, daring me to strike. He held his head out for me to strike. "Come on, strike here." I raised the knife, no longer caring about anything, and was about to strike. Then suddenly someone grabbed the blade of my knife. Blood began dripping from his palm, splattering on the ground. The smell of blood filled the air, reaching my nose. The world stopped. I looked up, and the one holding my knife was a police officer in uniform. He grabbed the knife from my hands, handing it to someone beside him, and said with a frown, "Take them away." The world fell silent, the sharp pain in my stomach overwhelming my emotions, and I couldn't take it anymore. Darkness consumed me. I couldn't hear or see anything anymore. When I opened my eyes again, I was in a hospital room, and no one was there. When the nurse saw I was awake, she quickly ran out to call for someone. A person walked in, his hands wrapped in bandages, wearing a police uniform. He looked stern and righteous. I knew what crime I had committed, but I remained calm, as if I were waiting for a powerless death, one that was inevitable. Unfortunately, I didn't die. Instead, I had to continue waiting for others to sentence me. I looked at him briefly and said, "I don't accept any mediation. Let everything follow the procedures. You had an ovarian rupture and nearly lost your life. It would have been better if I had died. That way, the bully would have to pay for it, suffering day by day until the sentencing, begging for mercy like a dog." I said irritably, "Who told you to save me? What good are you? Get lost." He didn't get angry. His emotions were steady. "Is it worth trading your life for his? I don't care. Tyler intentionally hurt someone. He will definitely be convicted. Oh, I'll also be convicted. I've written a letter of forgiveness. You're fine, no need to pay any compensation. Oh. If you're in trouble, just say it. Extreme measures won't help." He sounded like he was lecturing, and I teased him. "I'm getting married." "Are you getting married?" He stared at me for a while, his eyes deep. I thought he would laugh, but instead he said, "Sure. Do we go register now?" I sneered. "With a police officer husband as support, I won't commit any crimes. You're doing a good deed." He pointed to the recorder on his chest. "The video is the evidence. Once you're all better, we can go anytime." I thought he was joking. Who would give their life to a stranger? But his name was Jack, and he came every day, even brought a psychologist. "You have depression," the doctor said. I didn't believe it. I was living quite positively. But Jack took it seriously and started coming even more frequently, always with a worried look in his eyes. These last 2 years, just before turning 30, the world had been unfriendly to me. Even my parents had been cold. I hadn't felt such ordinary kindness in a long time, and my eyes suddenly welled up. Jack asked, "What's wrong?" I didn't answer. My parents had never shown up. Perhaps they were disappointed. "I've stopped your parents," he said. "If you want to see them, I'll let them come." In the afternoon, my parents came. They spoke cautiously. "Whether you get married or not is fine," my mother said. "We support you no matter what." My dad nodded. They probably knew about my situation. The only ones who would compromise for me in this world were my parents. Tears fell, and my mom quickly wiped them away. "Don't cry, your parents will always be here." After they left, Jack brought me apples. I said, "Don't take my previous words seriously." He was stunned for a moment. You don't have to involve your life in this. You don't need to marry me. He should find a good girl." He put the apples aside and said seriously, "I'm 29 and my family's been pressuring me. We're both annoyed by it. Why not cooperate? After marriage, I'll give you time to adjust. No pressure. You have support, and I can deal with the marriage pressure. A win-win." I agreed. Someone was pulling me out of the mud, and I had no reason to refuse. On the day we registered, my parents were both surprised and happy. My mom kept praising my husband to be the police officer. Jack and I walked side by side. We weren't familiar yet, and we felt distant. Watching my parents busying themselves with the wedding, I felt a weight lift off my chest. Love wasn't a necessity. As the year ended, I ran into Ethan after work. He reeked of alcohol and tried to hug me, but I dodged him. "Are you done being angry?" he asked. "We're done." I walked around him, but he grabbed me. "Lucy, are you done? Is it because of Mia?" 10 years of love, and he still didn't understand. I said, "It's not about Mia, we're just not right for each other." "You don't seem upset." His face was dark. I smiled. How could I not be upset? He couldn't see that when I had my accident, he was speaking ill of me. He didn't see me trying to find him while he was having milk tea with Mia. He didn't see me sick while he was sending flirtatious messages to Mia. He didn't see me breaking down while he was in a hotel room with her. He didn't even know that I blocked him because he was too busy messing around with his new lover. And now he was asking if I had calmed down? On New Year's Eve he called and texted, but I didn't reply. Once I made up my mind, I had to cut ties with the past. I chose Jack, and even if it was just a partnership, it should be taken seriously. On the first day of the new year, Jack and I went to the movies. It wasn't awkward. He didn't seem to care about marriage much. He just wanted someone to marry. That was fine. I didn't feel guilty. We got engaged during the first month of the new year, and the wedding was set for May. Jack prepared the house, car, and dowry thoughtfully. But I felt uneasy and told him everything. He looked at me for a long time. "If it bothers you, we won't get married." He stood at a comfortable distance, which made me feel at ease. After the new year, life was the usual work and home routine, except that Jack would occasionally come over for meals. Today, after work, Jack was waiting for me at the office door. My colleagues were gossiping. "Who is this?" "He's my fiancé," Jack answered casually. My colleagues were surprised, and I awkwardly pulled him away. It was cold, so we went for hot pot. We didn't say much. It wasn't awkward. He sent me to the elevator and waited until the door closed before leaving. When the elevator arrived, I smelled smoke. Ethan was standing on the stairs with a cigarette glowing, his face dark. "Who is he?" He pushed me to the door. "My fiancé," I answered without hesitation. He seemed agitated. "You don't want to solve the problem between us. You just want to replace me. You're the one who said no one else would want me but you," I sneered. "You know what 10 years of love is worth. You knew I cared, and that's why you dared to hurt me." I showed him the ring. "I'm really getting married." Ethan panicked, pulling out his phone. "I've deleted Mia. Can we have a fresh start?" "I haven't changed the passwords. I just wanted you to care about me more. That's why I got close to Mia." He slumped against the wall. Maybe he had some real feelings, but they were mixed with too much hypocrisy. "Let's go our separate ways," I said. I grabbed my keys and he grabbed my arm. "You don't love me anymore? You clearly loved me so much." My nose tingled. "It's all in the past. Did you sleep with him?" he asked, his eyes red. I felt disgusted and didn't answer. He suddenly hugged me and asked in a low growl. I was enraged. "We're engaged. Of course we've slept together." He seemed to have lost control and tried to kiss me, his strength frightening. Just when I was about to despair, Ethan was suddenly pulled away and thrown to the ground. Jack stepped on him and flashed his badge. "I'm a police officer. Come with me to the station." I was humiliated and tears fell. Ethan lay there saying, "Lucy, please give me another chance." I was wrong. People only realize how deep the love was after the pain of separation, but no one will keep giving you chances. Jack gave him a few warnings and sent him away. When we got inside, I didn't dare look at Jack. He handed me warm water, and the warmth spread through my heart. "Thank you," I said. "No need to thank me." He sat quietly beside me. "How did you know I needed you?" "I noticed the light in your room was off, so I thought something might have happened." "Thank goodness he came." I said, "I've really broken up with him. I didn't know he would show up." "I knew," he said. "If anything happens in the future, you can always find me. I told you, no one will bully you with me around." I looked at the wedding ring on his hand, then held his hand. Okay. At that moment, I was sure. I would live a good life with him. Ethan didn't give up. He kept sending flowers, waiting outside my company. "When I was pursuing you, you didn't care about me either." He kept bringing up the past, hoping to make me turn back. I stopped and said, "Ethan, stop deceiving yourself." He froze, and the flowers fell to the ground. I was sure now. I really didn't love him anymore. He was only nostalgic for the past. "No one will wait for you forever," I said, then turned around. Jack was waiting for me not far away. The sunset illuminated him, making him seem to glow. Ethan had once shone like that too. I walked over, took his hand, and we walked down the busy street. We would get married and live an ordinary life, walking together through the trivialities of life, in the midst of the world's smoke and fire, for a lifetime.